Following allegations from the Socialist Party in relation to the return of the law on the theatre, the presidency has issued a reaction relisting the reasons for the decision and inviting all those concerned to read them carefully. The Democratic Party has given a final answer to the Embassy of the United States and the European Union and also to the Socialist Party regarding the voting on the law on magistrates, declaring no consensus will be given. Illegal interference by residents in the decayed infrastructure have been determined as the reasons for the pollution of drinking water in villages of Berat, with the only determinable solution being a 200 million LEC network upgrade. Good evening, it's 6 o'clock on Saturday the 28th of July 2018. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country translated into English. The presidency has responded to the allegations and reactions of the Socialist Party following the decision to return the law for the new theatre back for reconsideration by the Assembly. In the announcement from the President's spokesperson, it is said that the head of state, Alibeaj, is following the political reactions after the decision and expresses regret for statements that he determines as emotional and superficial. Attached to the reaction, the President lists once again his reasoning as to why he refused the law, inviting all those who are concerned to read them carefully. The President of the Republic is convinced that if all will be led only by the national and public interest, the preservation of the theatre complex and its restoration is part of the national heritage. Also, the construction of the new theatre must be guaranteed in the most transparent way and with more responsibility in respect of the current legislation, avoiding any artificial conflict. The President argues that the law on the new National Theatre building is not in compliance with constitutional principles nor international acts which the Republic of Albania adheres to or has ratified, and goes against the spirit of the legal system through which Albanian society has been developed. Mayor of Tirana, Alibeaj, says the law on the theatre will be adopted in September and that the 40-day delay will not curtail the work of the municipality to change our city. One of the reasons why we have these small problems today is because we have people who have grown up badly and are not used to playing on a team. They have not grown up thinking positively, have not grown up to seek the best, but instead look for things that divide. People who say no to progress, who are afraid of new things. This is why we have this debate today. We will wait patiently for these 40 days as Parliament reconvenes to pass the new theatre law. But always, the question I ask myself is, those who oppose everything, were they not just saying, do not touch the lake, do not touch the park? And yet, isn't the park much more frequented today? Just look at how the playground, bicycle track, pedestrian track, runway and new amphitheatre are arranged. It is enough to see the 126,000 trees that were planted. Were these trees planted by those who say do not touch, or those who say something is changing just by touching them, said Alibeaj. Mayor Alibeaj was at the lake park where he inspected the works of a new recreational angle and where he kept these statements. He expressed gratitude to the entire community of artists who supported the project. I am very grateful to all the actors who supported the new theatre and the whole society that supports the development of Tirana. For all those people who may still have doubts, when listening to those who oppose government projects on TV, as you look at these opponents, ask yourself a question. Those who oppose everything, what have they done for me? Have they built a school? Have they planted any trees? Is there any concrete thing that they made in order to change my life? Also, let them ask the same question for those of us that are working now. We are the people who delivered Skanderberg Square, the new bazaar and the kindergartens and schools, said Alibeaj. According to him, Tirana will continue to change, and despite a small delay of a few days, as they will not allow anyone to restrain public affairs. The Democratic Party is determined in its position not to vote the so-called magistrates law, even after the invitation of the European Union Embassy or the United States. In an interview for the Aura News, DP MP Alibeaj says that the Socialists' proposals are in contravention of the Constitution. I personally ask that the Constitution be applied as it applies to America. Every law must be in compliance with the Constitution, and that includes the law on magistrates also, said Alibeaj. Referring to the Constitution consolidated in consensus 2 years ago, the chair of the Law Commission says that the competence for the Magistrates School is on the High Judicial and Prosecutorial Councils. Neither the High Council of Justice nor the head of the prosecution, currently Arta Marcu, can appoint new magistrates. Do you remember what the US ambassadors said about the General Prosecutor and the High Council of Justice? They do not punish the judges, do not punish prosecutors correctly. How can we go back to some values, in fact anti-values, from 4 years ago when we started reform and justice, said Alibeaj. The Democratic Party has noted the whole process of vetting so far, while Alibeaj says that with conviction, it is confirming in office only those judges and prosecutors who have shown that they support Prime Minister Edi Rama. They passed today and are confirmed in duty, and this happens only by the call of Edi Rama. Tomorrow, they will serve him in order not to find anything against him from the application of criminal law. So simple and understandable is this whole system. And at this point, the instrument being used by Edi Rama is the organ of vetting, said Alibeaj. The Democratic Party said that the government is interested in getting their hands on the process of vetting, arguing that this process will define the new sphere of justice. The growth in the rate of construction permits issued over the recent months is considered a fiscal bubble, becoming a serious problem. Administrator Alibeaj argues that all indicators such as economic growth or lending to this sector do not justify the boom of permits. In fact, we have to deal with the fact that, when demand is lacking, the offer cannot grow so strong and virtually leads to the opinion that we are dealing with a clear fiscal bubble. The only explanation that can avoid this conclusion is that Albania continues to receive large amounts of informal money, said Alibeaj. Meanwhile, the Builders Association requires diversification of permits given by paying more attention to the tourist sector. According to Alibeaj, if permission is given only for the construction of towers, then the sector is endangered by the risk of becoming stagnant. We need to be careful about handing out more building permits, as the sector can be under the effect of spending, like we saw 5 years or 7 years ago, where there was a large surplus stock of apartments due to the entire blocks being released after construction. Today, what we again notice is high rates of construction, which we have to be careful about, and if they will only address the housing sector. Some of the towers should be diversifying the construction by introducing hotels, which, for the sake of truth, have a positive effect, said Alibeaj. Instat data in the first quarter shows a total of 221 permits approved, up from 101 this time a year ago. At a city level, Instat notes that the capital continues to hold the top spot, having issued 65 permits, 22 more than for the same period the previous year. Fier, Elbasan, Durrës and Korça have also had large increases in the number of permits issued, while Kukës is the only city that has not approved any construction permits. Infrastructure that is totally debilitated and residents' own interventions for irrigation have been determined as the main reasons for the pollution of drinking water in the villages of Otlak and Orizai in Berat. The pollution problem of the drinking water was raised 5 days ago by residents of the two villages, denouncing to the media that the water coming from the taps in their homes was highly polluted and, as a result, could not be consumed. Berat Kuchova Water Supply and Sewerage Director Refat Arizi said that the ultimate solution to this concern will be the replacement of the distribution network at an expected cost of about 200 million lek. The pipeline is about 55 years old, and I want to emphasise that it is completely rusted 100%. The second reason is that this area is almost informal. Over the past 30 years, all the buildings built here have taken water privately, said Refat Arizi. On the other hand, to eliminate the pollution, employees have been working on the ground for several days to eliminate illegal connections and clean the entire network with plentiful water. We as an enterprise do not have this economic opportunity. We have sent a letter to the municipality. The municipality is looking into it and will also address the municipal council with this problem, said Refat Arizi. Drinking water pollution is high mainly in summer as water levels reduce, which also affects the traces of waste from the pipeline. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join me again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Aura News, thank you and have a lovely weekend.